Hey, back on 2 Tonight, we'll delve into a story that's not just about two superstars, but about two souls who find meaning in life in a cold, harsh industry full of lonely shadows. A true story of loss, friendship, and the courage to keep going, even when the world seems to stop turning. Wang Yibo sat on a simple white chair in the middle of a silent studio. The lights around him dimmed, leaving a single spotlight on his face, which seemed to be holding something back. His eyes were blank, his voice trembling slightly as he looked at the camera and said, "Can I still continue my life in this industry when my friend left me in such a tragic way?" Those words were like daggers piercing the hearts of the millions watching that night. Suddenly, the Chinese entertainment world fell silent. Fans stared at their screens, crying silently. There was no more glitz, no more laughter, only sorrow dripping down the screen. Because everyone knew, the person Yibo was referring to as no ordinary person. He was Xiao Zhan, his best friend, his colleague, and the figure who changed his life. Years ago, before the storm, they were just two young men with big dreams. They met on a project, exchanged laughs during grueling rehearsals, and encouraged each other when the world was too cruel. They weren't just partners on screen, but two souls who cared for each other behind the camera. Yibo often said, "In this world, only a few people can truly understand the silence behind the spotlight. Zhan is one of them." But like all beautiful stories, winter always comes uninvited. Their popularity exploded, and with it came unimaginable pressure. Rumors, hatred, slander, all piled up like a storm waiting to explode. Xiao Zhan became the biggest victim of the wave, losing much, including his own peace of mind. Yibo, on the other hand, tried his best to comfort his friend. He texted, called, even visited his home at night. But in an industry full of secrets, sometimes a person's kindness becomes a twisted weapon. They began to be pushed apart by contracts, rumors, and the growing fear of public pressure. Then one day, the news came. Cold, short, and inhuman. Xiao Zhan was found unconscious in his apartment. The world seemed to collapse in an instant. Yibo raced to the hospital, pushing through the crowd of cameras and microphones hungry for sensation. But it was too late. The figure who had once always smiled gently now lay still, as if in a long, endless sleep. At the press conference that followed, Yibo didn't say much. He simply lowered his head, clasped his hands over his chest, and whispered softly, "I hope he's at peace now." But the world knew that peace wasn't just for Xiao Zhan, but also a constant prayer for himself. The days that followed were dark. He refused to perform, refused to eat, and locked himself in his apartment for months. On his bedroom wall still hung a photo of the two of them from their first filming. Their smiles were genuine, as if laughing at the time that had separated them. Fans worried, the industry whispered, and his friends could only hope that he would return one day. And that day came. After almost a year of absence, Wang Yibo appeared at a charity event. His face looked thinner, his eyes bloodshot, but beneath that gaze was something different, a calm. When the host asked about Xiao Zhan, he stared far ahead and replied, "I want to continue what we started together. He'll be upset if I stop here." From then on, his pace changed. He began writing songs, not for fame, but as a prayer. Every lyric, every note, felt like an unfinished conversation. At one of his first concerts after his grief, he stood center stage and said, "I know you're there listening. I just want you to know I'm still here." The audience's cheers that night turned to tears. Thousands of cell phone lights flashed simultaneously, forming a sea of soft light. On the background screen, a photo of Yibo and Xiao Zhan appeared, two figures who once walked side by side, now separated by time, but united by memories. The media tried to find meaning behind Yibo's every move. Some said he was using grief for his career, but fans knew the truth. It wasn't about popularity. It was about having the courage to live again when someone most precious to him was gone. In one interview, Yibo finally opened his heart. He said, "I learned that loss isn't the end of everything. Sometimes, the people who leave behind a light for us to keep walking." That quote went viral, transcending fandom walls, languages, and time. Now, every time he performs on stage, Yibo always wears a simple black bracelet on his wrist, the one Xiao Zhan gave him for his birthday, so that you will always remember, even when the world forgets, Xiao Zhan said at the time. And Yibo never forgot. Their story has become legendary, not because of popularity, but because of sincerity. Two young people who grew up together, separated by fate, but who continue to care for each other through memories. The entertainment world may continue to change, but for the millions of hearts who have watched them, Yibo and Xiao Zhan will always be symbols of love, loss, and the strength to rise again. Slowly, Yibo returned to writing, dancing, and creating. However, there was something new in each performance. His movements were calmer, his tone deeper, as if every breath held a story that no longer needed words. In one of his choreographies, at the end of the performance, he always looked up and raised his hands to the sky, a small gesture understood only by those who knew him for a long time. That was his way of greeting Xiao Zhan, said one of his backup dancers. Every time he did that, the atmosphere of the stage changed, as if there were two people there. Despite the passage of time, the pain never truly disappeared. However, Yibo learned to make peace with it. He realized that loss wasn't something to be forgotten, but rather something to be embraced. In a radio interview, he said softly, "I don't want to erase the past, because that's where I found the true meaning of life." The announcer on the other end remained silent, unable to respond, for the words sounded like the sincere prayer of someone who had walked a long path through pain. The following year, on the second anniversary of Xiao Zhan's passing, Yibo released a song called "The Other Side of Silence." The music was simple, but the lyrics were piercing. In the final verse, he sang, "If you are the wind, I will be the leaf you carry." The song topped the charts for weeks, but to Yibo, the accolade meant nothing. He only wanted one thing, for their voices to never truly fade away. And on a lonely afternoon, as the sun set behind the tall buildings, Yibo looked up at the sky with a small smile. "I know you see me," he said softly. "I'm not alone." Amidst the orange and purple hues of dusk, it was as if a gentle shadow smiled back at him, unseen by the world, but felt in his heart. Because for those who truly love, separation is just another form of meeting. And as long as the memories live, the two of them will continue to walk side by side, through time, beyond sorrow, into eternity. At the end of the documentary, Yibo looked at the camera again. He smiled, this time without tears. "I'm still here," he said quietly. "For him, for us, for everyone who has ever lost someone and is trying to live again." The screen slowly faded to black. Soft music played in the background, and then simple white writing appeared. Sometimes, the greatest love story isn't about romance, it's about remembrance. And that night, the world wept once again.